Hello and welcome back to ParanormalNL Podcast, located in Newfoundland Labrador, Canada. That's PNL Podcast for short. I'm your host and founder, Jen Nosworthy. Thank you for tuning in to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 FM on that Gulf for tonight's Beyond the Haunting special on UPRN segment number 35. I've got two special guests tonight waiting backstage from British Columbia, Canada, who I'll bring on shortly. Now it's time to grab your favorite cold one, a few munchies, and get ready for the spooky show tonight. ParanormalNL Podcast is sponsored by the Bog Team. It's a boots-on-the-ground Bog Team doing historical paranormal investigations in Newfoundland, Canada. PNL Podcast believes in supporting international paranormal networking and highlighting global paranormal people, places, and things. And you can follow PNL Podcast and that Bog Team on their Linktree ParanormalNL Podcast. Now let's get on with the show tonight. I've got on with me Corine Carey and Kelly Ireland. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Should I say welcome back for the folks who are following PNL Podcast from season 2? Y'all were on what season? Yeah, season 2, episode 125. So
yeah,
we're into season 3. Yeah. Yes. So welcome back. So tell everybody listening in on UPRN who don't know who you guys are. Tell us a little about yourselves and Beyond the Hunting Investigations.
Yeah, well, we are Beyond the Haunting Investigations. It's me and Kelly and my sister Leanne, who couldn't be with us today, but it's the three of us, and we have been doing this since, I don't know, it's been a long time. We kind of grew up, well, me and Leanne grew up with all of this, and Leanne and Kelly being friends, she came into the fold, and as adults, we have been investigating, and we have done our Haunted Gold Rush documentary that focused on the Fraser Canyon in British Columbia. And then from there, we got our series, Histories Most Haunted. So we've been all over from there. And now we're working on a Halloween special, and we've got all kinds of fun stuff in the works. So yeah, we're three female paranormal investigators from BC who like anything spooky and paranormal.
Go Canada. Kelly, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
For sure. Well, Leanne and Corine grew up with this sort of paranormal topics and things going on in their home. I mean, Corine, in the beginning, it was in secret, but only her sister really knew. And Leanne fully embraced everything. So she's been gung-ho and shouting it from the rooftops. But in where I grew up, it wasn't common chatter. Like, we didn't talk about this stuff. Sometimes I would say things, or I would see things, or see the world a certain way. And I was often told, like, don't say that, or don't be weird, or things like that. So I shut all of that stuff down, and then I became friends with Leanne in high school, and we started playing volleyball, and she was like different. She talked about weird things that were at the time weird to me. And the more time I spent at their house, the more I started to see that maybe there was more to this world. And I mean, seeing people cry over and over and over because Corine is communicating messages from beyond, and things that these people are saying, nobody knows this, I've never told anyone. That's pretty ground shattering for me. So it was that
you witnessed Corine in action, hey?
Oh yeah. And then them taking me out to different places and seeing them see and feel and experience and all of that really helped me to tap into what I already had, which I didn't realize. And so then I started having memories from my childhood come back about like, oh, I remember this one time this happened. And they're like, well, now do you know what that means? And I'm like, well, yeah. So it's been quite
Kelly, was one of the most investigations that stick out in your mind that Corine did when you went, oh my gosh, like, how did she know that? Or what just happened kind of thing?
Let's see. Well, one of the first ones that I ever did was is it the train station museum, Corine?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So where we grew up, there's a museum there. And that was one of the very first places that I went in and experienced it. And I was still like pretty skeptical. I mean, I'd seen a lot, but still, you're telling me we're going to go in this haunted place and like see things that, you know, beings or ghosts or whatever. So we went in and it was just incredible. And and at this point now she had gear, an arsenal of gear. So we started using it because for Corine, it wasn't from my perspective, and I don't know if you agree, Corine, it was just to prove to herself that she's not crazy, if you know what I mean. So like she sees something there. And so for her, she always told me, like, hypothetically, or not even hypothetically, if it's there and I use this gear, it will validate what I'm seeing. So for me, I was like, wow, okay, so she can see that and she can hear that spirit speaking to her. And so now we have this gear. And so when the gear was acting up after she had said, someone standing there, point the gear there, and it maps in or something goes off, it was just very surreal and almost hard to believe until I started to really develop my own abilities. And so then I would be like, I feel something over there, as Corine's like, what was that? And then so it was just like the development process was just fascinating. And then I think we went to the museum with a few other people. And so the thing that always really gets me is when Corine does readings with people and just delivers messages and or like solves family mysteries. And it's just like so Scooby-Doo. I just love it.
What about you, Corine? Has there been something for you that just totally like blew you kind of thing? I mean, being said, you know that you have this gift, but is there anything that sticks out in your mind that happened that was like, oh, wow, like that just happened kind of thing?
So many.
Right?
Yeah, like honestly, and I think Leanne kind of jokes around, like, she's like, how can you always be so surprised? I'm like, because I still, like, I can't wrap my head around a lot of it.
Actually, I can go back to this one. I had to mention Bell Island because y'all were here on the U-Boat Ireland episode. And if y'all haven't seen it, you got to go watch it. On Histories Most Haunted, Season 1, Episode 6, they did U-Boat Ireland, Ghost of Second World War. And it was over here on Bell Island. And they captured some wild stuff down there in that mine. And not just the mine, but up in the house, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to talk a little bit about what you did over there?
Yeah, like that one, there's so many things, like going back to the first question too, like there's so many things that surprise me because I've had this my whole life. And like Kelly said, I kept it quiet and secretive for so long that I'm still as an adult, like, seriously, like, is that real? Like, it blows my mind every time. And Bell Island was one of those places because, we get there and it was February. It was very cold. And they're like, okay, so we're going into this underground submarine mine. And then there was the Nazis had used their, their Wolfpack submarines, and they'd blown up some of the iron ore ships. And like, there was this house where the owners had like helped try to save all these people that were on the boats that night. And it was just, you could feel it. Like, we all felt the intensity of that property and what had happened. And so going into that home, I was picking up things that I believe were connected to the family, but also connected to like the victims who passed in the house. And then it was like, also like, I could feel this one spirit was kind of there constantly. And I kept getting the name over and over and over. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know this person. Like, at one point I thought it was connected to my family because I had a family member with a similar name. I'm like, am I reading something wrong? Like, and so eventually, as the investigation progressed and we kind of were getting some clues and we were trying to piece together, all three of us, of what was happening, when we found the memorial plaque with the name of one of the victims from the U-boat sinking, like, I'm still stunned every time. So, honest reactions, it's just like, are you serious? Like, how? Like, it's fascinating to get it and then to have it validated. It's just, that's
why a lot of people say they don't want to know anything about the history before they go, because when they go there and if they feel or sense or something or someone, and then later they either look at the picture or find something historical, like, oh, that's the person or that's the thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating to me too. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's my favorite part, actually, is not knowing and going in blind, especially with Corine's abilities, because like when we went down to, what's the beach? Lance Cove Beach. Yes. Yeah. Lance Cove. So we're standing there and all of a sudden we're talking and all of a sudden Corine's like, oh my gosh, I see this going out in the water and I'm hearing this name and I don't know if it's my family or if it's someone else yet. And it turns out we ended up back at the house that was just across the hill or up the hill. And that's where we did our investigation. And she's getting the same name. And finally, I don't know if it was Leanne or me or who, or Corine, and we're like, wasn't there a monument we drove by? And it's just down the block. So we walked out in the February weather, and I'm reading it, and there was the name, and it's like every single time, and it's always so exciting. It's so exciting for me. Leanne is very like obviously Corine's gonna get it. Like, she's just this is so like not surprising to her that she's just like, of course. Whereas Corine is shocked every time. I don't know if it's because she was told like she was not seeing things right as a kid. Like, no, that's not real. That all of a sudden now when she's validated, she's still shocked. It's mind-blowing.
And the part at the very end where, you know, they all started leaving the mine when you said, you know, it's okay. You can leave now, because they were all like behind the door. I mean, that was something else. But now you guys have done a lot of other things. Look back here, you won a Leo Award for Best Hosts on Histories Most Haunted. I mean, you guys have been around the block or two.
That was incredible. Yeah, our Histories Most Haunted was nominated, I believe, for 4 Leo Awards in 2024 last year. And we ended up winning as Best Host for a docuseries, which I think all 3 of us were quite shocked.
Congratulations. Yeah, because there's a lot of competition on that, right?
Well, yeah, and just to have, I think for us, well, especially for myself, like to have it where it's a paranormal show. Like, to be winning an award for, like, if you had told little Corine, who, like, you know, 30 years ago that you'd be getting an award for hosting a paranormal TV series where you're using your psychic abilities and your mediumship abilities with Kelly and Leanne, I'd be like, okay. But to be honored like that really, really meant a lot.
Really hits home, you know. Oh, yeah. You help a lot of different people. You want to talk a little bit about your sister?
No, I'm kidding.
No?
Well, I think for Leanne too. I think for myself, like being the older sister, I was always the one that, like, I was playing spot the spirit with her as a kid, because I was told, like Kelly was saying, that what I was seeing wasn't real, what I was hearing wasn't real for so long. And by the time I was like 10 years old, I had been tested for so many things, because, you know, my parents were concerned, and I understand that, but I thought I was alone in all of this. So I just stopped speaking about all of it. And so in comes Leanne. She's, you know, 5.5 years.
A lot of people do that, right, Corine? All right, Kelly, until somebody else witnesses like the same thing. And then you're like, okay, I'm not crazy. You saw that too, right?
Totally. And so Leanne comes along, and she was like, I'd see something, and all of a sudden I'd see her watching it. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'd ask her, I'm like, what did you just see? And she'd explain what I saw. And I'm like, whoa. And so it became more of a, like, I made it a game because she was younger, like spot the spirit, but it was really just me trying to test her to see, like, is she actually picking up the same things as me? And when she kept getting it over and over, I'm like, so this is real to some degree. Like, what is this? So for Leanne, it was just normal. We shared a bedroom for years. She just always was seeing the weird with me, I guess. I don't know. And so, like Kelly said, she would scream it from the rooftop. She would tell everybody. And, you know, I'd always be like, stop telling everybody. Like, oh my God. But
so when you go into like different places like this, Kelly or Corine, does this freak you out or does it excite you? Because some people will be like, I ain't going down there. And other people are like, quick, come on, give me the camera. I'm going down.
A bit of both. That's the Hellfire Club in Ireland, I believe. Yeah.
Did you have fun in that place?
Yeah. So that was a day. It was pouring rain, absolutely monsooning rain, and we decided we're going to go on a little adventure. Okay. So we walked up this wet, foggy hill. It was very spooky. And out of the fog appears this Hellfire is it Hellfire Cave or Hellfire, what's it called? Club, sorry. And we get in there, and it was creepy. It was wet. It was dark. It was spooky. There's definitely stuff going on in there. Yeah, it was, you know, that's the thing, though. We were running in it. Like, we were like, let's go in this room. Let's go in this room. Let's go downstairs. Let's get the gear out. So, yeah, I think it's a little scary, but it's more exciting. Like Kelly said, like Scooby-Doo, like, who is it? What's going on?
Yeah, like an adventure, right? Like, who's here and who can we find and who do you think will pop up and say hello to us? And sometimes the weirdest things or people pop up, you know, the least expected thing. Like, you'll go into some place like that and might get a nice ghost, right?
Exactly.
Okay, she's making it sound like it was just a little foggy day. It was like monsoon raining, and it wasn't just a little hill. It was like a trail. And I mean, it's not like a long hike, but it's like, I don't know, half an hour that it took
You
us
got soaking wet.
walking up this trail with like rivers coming down from the rain. And we get to the top, and it was like this like really spooky like downpour, but like
we got to say some prayers to Texas, talking about rain. Hey, a few shouts out to love and prayers to Texas. Definitely.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of rain here in Newfoundland and Labrador today too. So hopefully there's no other flooding on the go around.
Yeah. Devastating.
Yeah. But it was super spooky. And so we walked in and we're feeling the different vibes in the place. And then all of a sudden we hear this man's voice and we're all looking at each other like, spirit or person. And all of a sudden this man comes out of nowhere and it's a human.
I think that might be even more scary than a ghost, because the actual human could hurt you, right?
Well, we didn't know he was in there, so that was like, oh, hello.
Maybe he wasn't real, Corine.
Or maybe he was just a full-on apparition, right?
Yeah. He didn't vanish.
Is all your gear spread out here, or some of it? Do you have any favorite things that you like to use, or do you like to kick it old school sometimes too?
That's just this little snippet of what we carry. The 5 cases of fun that we travel with.
I was going to say, it must be some hard, lugging all this gear around and having to explain to the airport what you got in there, and
Oh, that's an ongoing fun investigation. Every time we get to the airport, I seem to have the best of luck, but it's always like, pull over, what is this?
Do you carry it on the plane so it don't get stolen in case it gets lost when you get to where you're going, or how do you handle that?
Some of it you can't take on as carry-on, so we do check some of it, but I do try to take as much as, we all take pretty important things with us. They're always like, what is this? I'm like, ghost hunting gear. And they're like, what? And then having to explain that, sometimes I'll just do a quick reading and that shuts people up, but okay, carry on. But I think for myself, to answer the question, I think I personally like the SLS camera.
Oh, I love those. They're so fun, right? Well, especially when you can sense and know something is there and it's screwing around with something, right?
And that was one of the first pieces I wanted, because it's like, if that's actually what it is set out to do and developed for, then when I see what I see, if I can aim it and show everyone in my family that there's something in there, like Kelly said, like that was kind of what I really wanted people to see, that I wasn't making it up. So I think that's one of my just personal favorites for that reason.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, I also like the SLS camera, but I do like the Ovilus also.
Yeah, because you can chat with them, right?
It's so interesting. Like when we were on Bell Island, some of the words that were coming through in the moment, like in the mine, I think it was actually like words that were coming up were local slang words. And so it was lost on us. And then after, like when we were taking a break, one of the guys that was working with us, who was a local, was like, I can't.
You have Mike Hickey? Should we give a shout out to Mike?
Yeah.
From Paranormal. Yeah. Hey, Mike. He was on season 1, episode 19.
Yeah, Mike's great. Yeah, he was the one
he said he had an experience in one of them houses. Something pushed him.
Tell Jen Green. Tell them all.
Well, yeah. So in the house, Kelly's also making a good point, because in the house that we had this experience with Mike in, that was the house we were investigating that night, and he was one of our camera operators at the time, and we had just got an Ovilus word. Funny enough, it was like, I think they said tickle, which was the term that they had used for the water off the telescope. Yeah. So it said, like, where are you from or whatever. It said the tickle. We're like, what are the chances? And then all of a sudden, Mike is like getting, I think it was like something pulled on him or tapped on his back or pushed him or something. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I start getting information. I'm like, oh, okay, well, on top of that, your grandmother's here. Shall we chat? So on the fly, we did this like impromptu reading. He's like, did my wife put you up to this? No.
Did he totally freak out, Mike?
Yeah, I think he was a little spooked. And then in the mines too, after having this experience, because he was the one, like Kelly said, talking about all the slang, like so much was like it's a TV show. So much has to be.
Like that normally wouldn't come up on like a spirit box. You know how people say, oh, it's just random words. Like, no, like stuff like that, local slang, that's not random. That's so specific, right?
Yeah, and like I think it was a Protestant and priest, and it gave us number. There were so many specific things in the mind that Mike validated too. We're just like, wow, like.
Oh yeah, there was like a number one where it's like a certain way that you like say a number.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was very specific. We were like, oh yeah, 40 and some or something like that. And he was like, no, that is a thing here. I can't remember what it is. But he was
I can't remember what that was. Maybe 40 odd or something, or I don't know.
Something like that. Something like that.
Or more, something. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I love it when stuff like that happens on the spirit box or spirit talk, or things come through and you're like, what? Did that just say that? Like, you know?
Yeah. And I always repeat myself, and it's like annoying that I say it all the time, but I'm like, you can't make it say that. You can't make it say words. Like, it's not like we're there. Because after the fact, people that we come across are like, are you programming that thing? And then like making it say it.
You get some people saying that, right? Like, oh, it's programmable. It listens, it can hear, you know, or look at what's on your phone, and it just regurgitates it. But no, not if it's that specific, right?
And the same thing happened in Salem. That Salem blew me. I think all three.
Oh, shout out to Sam Baltrusis, man. Everybody, you got to listen and watch Sam. He's been on the show a few times. But that ghost in the back, when you were interviewing him at the very end, that shadow went past, and I asked him about it. He said, that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's ridiculous?
It went into the wall. It didn't just go down the street. It went in the wall. Because my husband was watching it, and he said, look. I said, what? No, it's behind him. He said, you got to tell Sam. So, yeah, I told him, and the producers went back, and they said, yeah, there's something there.
It's crazy. And like in Salem itself, I think it was in the basement where we're actually investigating for Sam, where he had his experience in the Hawthorne Hotel. And I think it said, was it Witch Remember Us? Or was that in the other seafood Turner restaurant? Like, to have it say Witch and Remember Us in Salem, we're just like, what is happening? Like, that obelisk was just on fire. And then when we asked, you know, something had come up about the core of the investigation. So we typed in like, what's at the core? And when it said Sam,
I
was like, oh my God.
I know, right? Because of their family history and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It all ties in. What freaks you out more? Something out of the blue or something intelligent? I think the intelligent ones intrigue me, but at the same time raises the hair on all of my arms because it's so intelligent and can predict things, and it'll say something, and then all of a sudden that will happen. It's like, whoa.
If they're angry spirits, then that can be a bit alarming.
Yeah.
Especially because she can see them. Like, it's so interesting when my experience with Corine is once they know she can see them, they kind of like rush her. And then seeing her as she's like, oh shit, like it's right in my face. And like
just like it's too many of them, right? Like just one at a time, please. Right? Do you find that they kind of come up to you and try to chatterbox?
Yeah, well, I think I don't know. I feel like the ones that are just random, like Kelly said, depends on the energy and the vibe of them. Because, you know, I've been to places where we've been investigating and we figure something out and we know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's just somebody saying something like, this is who we think it is and this is what's happening. So that's cool. Like you have a roommate, you know, that kind of thing. But for me, the scarier ones, like it's when I'm completely not expecting it. Like I was with dinner. I went out to dinner with friends. It was a couple years ago, and we were downtown Vancouver in a really nice restaurant. And I went downstairs to the washroom, and I was like, "There's something down here." I'm like, "Nope, I'm having dinner. Turn it off. I'm not interested." And of course, I'm the only one in the whole downstairs area, the only one in the washroom, the only one anywhere. And you know, I come out of the stall to wash my hands, and this woman, spirit, clear as day, like this burgundy dress, hair up, just rushes me and like it screams, "Help me!" And I literally was like, "What the hell?" Like I was so not prepared for that. I was spooked out. I literally like I've never booked it so fast. And, like, my husband goes down and he's down there and he goes to the washroom. And by the time actually when I came up from that experience, my friends and my husband were like, what's wrong? Like, it looked like I've seen a ghost. And this is kind of when I kept things quiet a few years ago. And anyway, I'm like, you have no idea. And so my husband goes down, he comes up, and then later on the drive home, he didn't look right either. And he goes, did you see a woman in a burgundy dress? I'm like, did you? He's like,
You saw her?
and I'm like, oh my God. And he described exactly what I saw. And then we went back years later, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to use the washroom at this restaurant, but let's ask the staff. And they're like, oh yeah, there's definitely something downstairs. It's, somebody passed away here like 30s.
Okay, so they knew too, hey?
So I was like, oh, that scares me the
Wow.
most. It's like, you are not expecting that. You're just washing your hands. Like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah, that happened to one of our friends one time at a museum. Came up and rushed to me. He was like, can I just use the bathroom alone, please?
Yeah, like
And then he went out and we were laughing because we were in the car telling the spirit to go and talk with him, right? So then he comes back out and we're all laughing. He's like, oh my God, he said, I just had the weirdest experience because the lady in the museum saw him too, right? And then she said who he was and everything. And we were laughing. We said, yeah, we told him to go up to you and talk to you and say hello.
I love that. Leanne's done that too. Do not scream. Okay.
Thanks, right? So when you go out in the woods, I got a question. And the reason why I have this question is for some reason it keeps telling us don't go in the woods. The woods are cursed or haunted or something like that. Do you ever get stuff like that when you're out amongst it? Like, do you ever just go in the woods and look around?
Yeah, I think the three of us grew up playing in the forest and the woods. So I think that's kind of, I don't know. I'm quite comfortable in the forests. I've never really had any areas that I can
I've
remember.
always been real comfortable too until we started using Spirit Box, and then it tells us the land is cursed, don't go in the woods. And every time we go or turn the Spirit Box on near woods, it tells us that continuously.
Interesting.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
There's certain areas I'm sure that are, hot spots.
Could be.
Maybe just
or could be elementals. You just don't know, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think, we've heard of elementals, and we were investigating a location for a Halloween special coming up this fall that is claimed to have an elemental in it as well. And, there's definitely energy shifts, and there's things that you feel that you're not 100% sure. And, if you have more time at a location, maybe, but yeah, I'm not too sure about cursed lands. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying, yeah, I've never.
Do you ever get stuff that comes through that's not human? And you think, oh, I don't want to talk to this, or just laughing.
For myself, yeah, there's been so many weird things where over the years where I'm just like, I don't know what that is, or I can't read the energy, or I can't place it. And I'm like, I don't know if it's not human or elemental or like just a different kind of energy or something from out of this world. Like, I don't know what it is because I can't pin it. And that kind of freaks me out, because usually I can be like, oh, this person is, he's saying his name is William and he's this person, and I can kind of piece things together. But when I can't, there's been a few times over the years where even Leanne, I remember in Virginia City, Nevada, there was a couple places, and there's a few locations where all of us were like, I don't know what this is. Maybe we should just take a step back. Like,
could be like a trickster kind of thing, like something like that. Saying it's one thing, but it's not that. It's something else.
Kind of. And then also just an energy where you're like, I don't know if this is human, but I don't know what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what do you recommend people how to protect themselves? How do you guys do it when you go out? Like, what do you guys do?
For me, it's just making a very conscious, intentional effort to go in grounded and stay grounded. Like, when you start to be scared and sort of like go outside of yourself, that's when it can become a little sketchy. So when you start to feel that fright, then trying to stay centered to try and prevent anyone from hitching a ride home with you.
Yeah, you don't want that. Nobody wants an attachment, right?
No. And we've all been saying for years too, like, jokingly, but also seriously, like, it's bubbles up, protect yourself. When you go in, you have that protective bubble, that energy, that light, the positive energy that you want to protect you when you go in to help yourself stay grounded, right? Because if you don't, like Kelly said, there's been a few times where the first time that I ever let my guard down was kind of early on when we were investigating, and I was in a very, very old 10,000 square foot abandoned building with like very little power. It was very scary. And we had just lost, like our father had just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks. And I was like, okay, so could this be my dad? Like there was just a split second where I'm like, could this be my dad? And when you talk about trickster energy, it was coming through with words. I'm like, could this be him? And I let my guard down for a split second. And then it was like, it's like demon poltergeist. I'm like, that's not my dad. Like, so, and that's when I started like, oh God, like bubbles back up. Like, oh gosh, what was that? I don't know. So, I've learned my lesson. You just have to keep protected and not let those little things in and not let the fear take over. Because as soon as the fear takes over.
Right. Yeah, that's important. So like, do you do anything special before and after? Or I know you talked about before, but anything like after when you go home? Some people have these different rituals where they even take off all their clothes that they had on where they were and don't let it in the house. And, all these other things like crystals and sage and whatnot.
We've used sage in the past, but I think it's very personal. Like everybody does their own kind of thing, right? So for myself, I know that when I'm done, like I always, like I say, bubbles up. I have that protective bubble and I keep that with me until I get home. And then for me, I always have to wash my hands and I usually have to have a shower before I go to bed that night just to like rinse and release all that energy. That's just my kind of thing. I do wear a lot of people
use salt. Do you use salt in the bath or whatever? Like,
sorry.
Salt. Do you use a salt scrub too? Some people use that, or they say no.
Nothing specific. I just keep, like Kelly said, you keep your boundaries, you keep your protective walls up, and then I think, knock on wood, I've been okay.
Yeah, I'll share an experience too for me. So on the Gold Rush Trail, when we did Haunted Gold Rush, so we were filming up the Gold Rush Trail up to Barkerville and stopping at haunted locations along the way. And for the first location in Yale, we went in this home, and that was a really good experience, good and not good experience. So it was a good learning lesson for me because I thought, I'm just going to like shield down. And so I like dropped my shield because I wanted like full on, like, let's do this.
Oh, okay.
And it was not great. So it was like just letting go of boundaries, basically. Like when you're working with spirit, you have to make sure you establish and hold boundaries. And I was just like, no boundaries. Like, let's see and feel and like come as close as you want. And it was like, got really close that it was like, holy crap, this is too close, too much. And so I had to like work extra hard after.
Well, what do you say for the boundaries for them not to get too close? Or do you only like, some people say any non-living? Well, I mean, that could be anybody. Or do you try to focus in on the one spirit? Or just invite like, hey, anybody want to come chat? Or,
Yeah. So for me, it's like a blanket statement. Human, non-human, I don't care who you are. You just stay out of my space. Like if you're a spirit, you can stay at a distance and we can just sort of connect. Like you can show me from there and we'll meet sort of in the middle space. And that's how I get it. Whereas in Yale, I was like, come on.
Yeah. Well, you got to tell them not to be using your energy, right?
That was like, it was the one time that I like really dropped it. And then after that, I was like, never, ever again. That was too close for me for comfort. And so
how long did it take you to get over that, Kelly?
You know what? It didn't take very long. Like I just went outside in nature because we actually did that investigation and then we slept in that house.
It was a lot.
So we investigated. It was like super intense, connected with this rage guy.
And then you had to stay overnight. Okay.
Oh, and then so I went outside and it was like right by the river. So I was able to just really, I had to focus super hard to try and ground and like imagine energy flowing off of me and just like grounding into the earth and all that stuff. And so by the time I went back in, I was to me fully grounded and centered again. But it was like, it took a bit longer than normal. And then by the time we were going to bed, Leanne's like, and we had to share a bed in a room. She's like, I don't know if I want to sleep with you. Like, hey.
Do you find it hard to investigate in a facility and then sleep there that night? Because do you feel that while you're sleeping that opens you up?
I can take it.
Go ahead. I can comment after.
Okay. I just feel like when I'm investigating, like Kelly says, we're all in. We're making sure that we're grounded. We're keeping everything a bit, but we're trying to interpret things. And so it's super exhausting when at the end of that, they're like, okay, so now you're going to stay over and sleep here. So to me, I'm like, well, we're not sleeping tonight then, because they're still here. We've just connected with them. They're going to want to talk with us all night or get our attention. So literally, like I've stayed at places. I think it was in Texas. It was like our hotel the Manger was on the grounds of the Alamo Battle. Like, I'm like, are you serious? We're staying on the grounds. And of course, I don't know how or why I ended up in like the oldest wing of this place, middle of nowhere by myself. They're all like in the fancy new part, like way far away. And I'm having like, I remember I saw shadow figures in my room. I had the door open and closed, even though I had a deadbolt on it.
Oh my gosh.
How the hell is this? So I didn't really sleep for a week, but you know, you just
Didn't spirit push on your bed?
Oh yeah, and then I had somebody pushing on the bed, woke me up, and I felt somebody sit next to me. I'm like,
I hate it when that happens, right? Yeah, that's just the worst feeling ever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you ever have something like try to hold your hand at the same time while it sits on the bed? It's like, ew.
It's not so much the hand, it's always like touching the leg, like my shin or my foot. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Don't touch it.
No. And then you're wide awake because you're like, well, this is great. Like,
yeah, you're like Katy Perry, wide awake all night, right?
Yeah, me and Leanne were across the hotel together in like a room.
And when she says across, it was so good.
And then we meet her for breakfast and she's like, oh my God.
You have no idea.
You were like, where's the coffee? I need some now.
I would be walking, like I wouldn't
That's
pass.
why paranormal investigators love coffee, right?
Oh, I need my coffee.
Do you find it takes a toll on you doing the investigations? I mean, most of them are at night, but you know what? I believe it doesn't matter if it's what time of the day it is. If it's haunted, it's haunted. You go in the middle of the day, you should get something, right? I know they say they don't like the light, they live in the shadows, yada, 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 fine. You can cover up the windows or whatever, but even if it's in the day, you should get something, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I find for us, it doesn't matter what time of day we go, they show up.
Yeah. And you can get some real ones that really want to talk too, right? As soon as you turn on your device, it's like, hey, it's like, hold on now. I'm still setting up a few things.
Yeah. It seems that when we go into places, when we set up, it's fast and furious for maybe an hour to 2 hours, maybe a bit more. And then once whoever's there has communicated and we're aware of them and whatever we do, it quiets. Or sometimes they're
maybe they run out of energy, you think, and they need to just go find some more and come back. Because we've had some do that, and we're like, hey, you see that car over there? They're like, don't use our car, but that car over there just got a battery in it. Go get all the energy out of that and then come back. And then a few minutes later, it'll be like, hey, I'm back again. You know?
Yeah, it could, like, and I don't know if it's just, I feel like a lot of times with us, like Kelly said, when we go in, it could be really fast and furious. And it's almost like they're throwing messages at us and we're getting so much so quickly that I feel like it's almost like they've power messaged us. And so it's like they take a step back because I don't know if it's because they feel like the message has been given or like you said, maybe they need more energy. You know, sometimes they come back, but often, you know, you're getting little hits for the remainder of the investigation. Whatever the reason is, it is fascinating though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many different things that happens. What's your favorite? I know we talked about different styles and that, but do you want to talk a little bit more about some of your styles that you do?
Styles, as in like investigative styles?
Yeah, investigative styles.
How do we? Well, first,
okay,
Kelly, you start.
Sure. Okay, so let's say like you show up to an investigation. We each have our own abilities, so. Mm-hmm. So there's that. So when we get to a place, a location, we kind of put our gear to the side and maybe open the things up a bit and then just kind of walk through, usually Corine, I think, and kind of feel it out and sort of intuitively decide like which things we want to use where, and are you feeling anything here? And like, we don't really open up too much to try to connect at that point because we want to like put stuff out, and then we'll go and get our stuff. And that's kind of how it works. And I'm sort of empathic, so I don't see things quite like Corine does. And Leanne senses presences and can tell when a spirit's entered a room and has left and is like close and all of that stuff. Corine, you can speak more to her, but Corine is just very unique.
Yeah, as we all are, really. But
everybody has their own different way and different abilities, shall we say, right?
Yeah, and I believe that for myself, it's more like, I think, everybody's called me a psychic medium, which sure, but there are days I feel like I'm more medium, and other days I'm like, I don't know what I am. Like, so I think we're all on a spectrum of abilities myself, but Leanne has always been able to, she can see, it just takes her a little bit longer to see them. It's not as clear, but she does definitely see them as well. She has been getting more, developing her skill of getting names and getting like information, which I find really cool. But yeah, she knows when spirits in the room, she can sense where they are. She just knows the energies change. She can pick up, what she's thinking it is, which is often the case, like what it is. And myself, like when I walk into a space too, I know that there was one place we went to, I think you guys, I can't remember where we were, but you guys, I think the two of you went in and you walked the building first, and you guys picked a room specifically that you said both of you were like, we're drawn to that space. And then you guys didn't tell me where it was. And I get there, I walk the building, and I walk right to the same space. So when the three of us all end up in the same place without really talking to each other about it, we know that's where we're starting. There's something about that energy that all three of us need to go and look into. So we always say, even investigations, like when we do Paracon events, and if you sign up to do ghost tours with us and stuff, like it's always your body first. Like we always say, trust your own intuition first. Just leave the gear, walk into a space and feel it. Like, see where something feels a little off, even if you can't articulate it. Like, is it feeling a little cold? Is it weird? Is your, the hairs on your back tingling? Like, what is it about that space? And then maybe that's where we begin. So that's kind of how we always start. And then we get the gear and see if we can kind of connect the dots and figure out the puzzle pieces.
So do you have anything that you want to tell your fans about that you're going to next? Like, I've got your website pulled up. Is there anywhere in particular you want me to go?
I haven't been on there in a little while.
I'm on the home screen here.
There's all kinds of fun stuff going on. So I do know that we are, I was just at the 108 mile heritage site for the 108 mile Paracon last month. We're doing another, that was on the Gold Rush Trail. We're doing another one. The three of us are going to Thunder Bay, Ontario for the Lake Superior Paranormal Convention, October 17th to 20th. And I know it's available. So we'll be there. We're going to be doing a talk. We're going to be leading one of the ghost hunts with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn and the Snipe investigators and a few other investigators. So yeah, you can sign up for that as well. And then we are also promoting soon our Halloween special. So we did an Ireland special for Halloween that's being edited right now and will air on TNE this fall, sometime in October. So we'll announce on our social media and our website when that will happen.
Okay.
What else am I missing, Kelly? What else are we doing?
You're going back to Ireland, Corine.
Oh, yes. There's that too.
Ooh, I bet you can't wait to do that.
Yeah. So I've paired with Spooky Ireland Tours, and May has been amazing. And we put together an itinerary for May 2026. So if anyone is interested in coming, I'll be the tour ambassador for that trip. And we picked some of the locations that we got to investigate for our Halloween special, which we're not going to talk about quite yet, but we will be going back to those places if you sign up to do the tour with me as well.
Fun.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to re-air our Histories Most Haunted randomly early in the mornings, but I know this Friday, July 11th, I think it's 5 a.m. Pacific PST time. We actually have our New Orleans episode airing this Friday on TNE. So if anybody does have cable and is up at 5 a.m., you can check that one out.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff on the go. You've been to a lot of different places. Do you have any favorite places that you've been?
Oh, so many.
Okay, it changes from moment to moment, but at this particular time, I would say Bell Island is right up there.
Oh, I love that you said that. Yay!
Oh,
everybody, if you haven't been to Bell Island, it's the most haunted place in North America. You have to come and check it out.
Oh yeah,
it is just a wild place.
There you are there in Bell Island in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone we talked to there has had an experience. Just walking along the trails out in nature, Corine was seeing things fly, like things that I couldn't see moving around. And it was like the energy coming up from the earth. It was wild.
Awesome. Did you like the boat ride across?
Oh, the
In
ferry.
freezing cold on the ferry?
It was awesome.
That's a little bit of Newfoundland for you. Can't come to Newfoundland without getting on a boat.
Right. Well, I think one of my favorites,
And I love that you guys do paranormal tourism, because I think that that's really important. Being that we're a small island, a lot of people are afraid to talk about the paranormal or host it at different hotels and stuff. But I think that a lot of people should do it more, and more people would enjoy it. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that we're really excited about is, going to these places and bringing the past to life through the paranormal, right? We've always said that we're looking at history through a paranormal lens. And so it's not to be scared. Like, it can be scary, but like, if you take the attitude that goes for people too, you're just trying to connect with who's still there and like, why are they still there? Like, what's their story and how can we connect and help them or figure out what they need to share? So like one of my favorite places, honestly, like right now, like Kelly said, it changes all the time, would be our own backyard, like the Gold Rush Trail up to Barkerville. Like Barkerville is the largest, maintained historic site in Western Canada. It's huge. And just knowing how many people, the tens of thousands of miners that came up and, that.
What is it about the mines though, guys? What do you think? You think it's because, that we dug into them, that, I don't know, it kind of stirs up a lot of stuff?
Yeah, I think it definitely messes up nature for sure. But then just think about all the people that go there and how their energy imprints on the land, and how anybody that potentially dies or any traumatic, like the stone tape theory, right? If you're thinking about how things imprint, you're talking like into a mine, like that's going to reverberate through like so much of that land. So, there's so many layers of history. There's so many layers of paranormal that we don't even understand yet. So how it's all connected, we just find it fascinating. So we want to go and delve into the history and find out what's happened and promote the location. And, I've been teaching history for over 20 years. And when kids and people are like, oh, history, so boring. I'm like, no, it's not. So like, we're always trying to be like, this is such a cool new angle, and just check it out, like learn from the past. And maybe the paranormal is the angle you want to start delving into that history through, because there's so much that we do know about Bell Island, right?
You were a paranormal tourist, shall we say, and where would you recommend in British Columbia to go visit besides there?
Kelly, any thoughts?
Oh, Corine, the name is escaping me.
I know you got some hot spots there somewhere, dude.
Cool hotel. We haven't made it to there yet, but we want to go. Oh, Corine.
Okay.
Or any other Canadian provinces you want to throw out there?
This is going to bite me too. I know what you're talking about now. I would say, honestly, if you guys are interested, even to recreate what we did on the Gold Rush Trail, I'm not trying to say do it because we did it. I'm doing it because it's amazing. Like the drive is beautiful, and the historic sites along the way. Like you can start in Victoria even and go from Victoria to New Westminster up to Yale. Drive the Fraser Canyon from Yale up to Hat. Like, you cross through Boston Bar, you get to Hat Creek Ranch up in Cache Creek. There's like Clinton is a famous ghost town region. Is
it Clinton? Is that inhabited, or is it just like one of those towns where there's nobody there? Or
it's a very small community, but the history there, like they've got one of the original old 1860s cemeteries. They've got buildings. It's fascinating. It's like one of the old stops. You can go up to Hat Creek Ranch. They have one of the original roadhouses from the Gold Rush era. You hit 100 Mile. You go to that barn at the 108 Mile Ranch. That ranks on our documentary as one of the scariest places we'd been at the time. You go.
What happened at that place when you were there?
Barkerville. Yeah, the whole thing I think is fascinating.
What happened when you said that it was at the most one of the most scariest places? What happened there? So you do not want to talk about it because it was too traumatizing.
I was just there doing a Paracon event, and I had to present in the barn that we investigated, so it was a little bit.
Okay.
No, it's one of those places where every building on site at the heritage site has activity. And we, for whatever reason, focused on the old Clydesdale barn. And that barn, the history of the barn alone and the history of the land with the potential female serial killer and all like the stuff that's going on in there. In the barn, there's been stories, and we were kind of told that there was this like evil entity that lived on the catwalk of the upper floor of the barn, amongst other spirits. So that night, I remember there was this big monsoon rainstorm, and then there was like thunder and lightning for a bit, and it was like super intense. And they, the three of us go in, we have our camera operator, and we're up there, and we're seeing, like, I'm seeing the shadow, like this man's face comes up out of the floor by the stairs. Like, I'm losing it. You can feel you're being watched. And then they show us all these photos of what had been captured previously. And I'm like, that's the face. Like, that is the guy. Like, and everything was connecting. But then it was so scary at first. But then we ended up finding out, like, it turned, and we became really sympathetic to this person because, we're like, were you murdered? And it was like correct on the obelisk. Oh. And you're trying to find your family. Everything was going off on the REM pod. So like, I think the story might be a little different. And I think that once you connect and you kind of get over the fear, then we were trying to make progress as to who that was. So, it wasn't as scary going back to present, but that night, just hearing what you have that bias, right? You go into an investigation, that's why we don't like to hear everything. We don't want to really know what's going on. We wanted to experience it for ourselves. But that was a night.
And that particular energy was quite interesting because we went into it going to him at first, and the more we went to him, the more he moved away. So we had to shift back, and so we went and then allowed him to come to us. And so that was an interesting time, because then all of a sudden you can hear him coming towards you across this barn as we're sitting there and letting him do his thing on his terms, like with our boundaries, obviously. But then that's when he really started to communicate, because before that it was like, Yeah.
He didn't want to talk much before then. But then I guess when he realized, hey, these ladies are really, listening in here.
Yeah, we were not going in to provoke and to like make it angry. We're trying to go in and help the spirits. So I think we just, we all do. Every investigative team goes in and has to readjust depending on the energy. So that's just, we tend to step back and let them come to us, like Kelly said.
I've got a few videos here that I see on your on your website. I don't know if you wanted me to share any of these, or it looks like you're also on StreamYard. And I'm going to pull that up here.
That is the Gold Rush trailer for our documentary. So that was the trailer that was on TNE. So
do you want me to play this one? Well, we're up to 52-minute mark, but I don't know how long the trailer is.
I'm not sure this one, to be honest. I think it's more than a minute.
Okay, well, we can. I can put it on there. See, whoops. Oh, there we go.
Sure.
Let me go and hit play and see what we get.
British Columbia's Gold Rush Trail is a legacy of murder, betrayal, and spirits.
Did it just touch my arm? I see a rope. Did they hang people here?
Paranormal investigators Leanne, Corine, and Kelly.
Are you willing to come and talk with us?
Explore the bloody history of Fraser Canyon through the phantoms that lived it.
Ready for this? Is someone there? My heart's skipping beats. There are really spirits in these locations.
Haunted Gold Rush, 2-part special, premieres October 30th at 9 on TNE.
Ooh, that looked like a good episode.
Does not take you back, Corine? Oh my gosh. I haven't watched that in a long time.
In a while.
There's a couple other teasers that's on here. That's Haunted Gold Rush. Then there's another one y'all got here for Histories Most Haunted. There's a little teaser here I can put up. Sure. There's a trailer here. I can put that one on for your fans to watch. Add to the stage. We're having fun here. With
oh my gosh, those clips of me. I look crazy pants.
He's having a moment there.
Their gifts unite them.
We realized that we all had these abilities when we started getting into the paranormal.
But faced with the world's most haunted sites,
you can feel the darkness of what happened in the past.
Oh my God, what is that?
Can they help spirits find peace?
They died doing what they thought was right.
Yeah.
And bring history back to life.
I think we're actually communicating with somebody from the witch trials.
Histories Most Haunted. Series premieres September 8th at 10, only on TNE.
That's fun, right? I like going through some of the trailers.
There you go. That's what you remember. That's what you're trying to remember.
You're like, oh no, my hair. What am I wearing and stuff like that.
It's really funny to have to watch yourself on TV.
Corine and I don't like watching ourselves.
I'm the same way. I think all women are the same, girl.
Well, I know this is usually Leanne's part, but you can follow us at Beyond the Haunting on Instagram and Facebook. And you can check out our website at beyondthehaunting.ca. You can contact us through there or on social media, and everything is posted up to date. Anything new and upcoming is usually put onto our social media platforms pretty quickly. And yeah, anything fun and exciting we like to share out. So stay tuned for more fun. Our Halloween special is coming out, like I said, this fall. We'll announce all the dates and more information, and you'll see us in Ireland at a very spooky location that is, I think you might have probably heard of it.
I've got your link tree pulled up here. So it's link tree Beyond the Haunting.
Yeah.
And there's your Ireland Spirits and Folk Tour. I think I might have to take this one off and then throw that one up because I can only do one at a time on this glorious StreamYard.
It's all good. Everything's on the website, so you're more than welcome to go check it out. There's all kinds of spiritual session stuff. There's our merchandise store is up online now, so people can buy some merch. And things are moving forward.
Here, I got the Ireland one here. I can pull this one up.
There you go.
Ooh, it looks like you're almost reaching. Looks like yeah, that's the one. Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. So it's, unfortunately, we tried to get it in Canadian dollars, but it is American dollars. So I'm letting people know that right now. And it doesn't include the flight. So people have to purchase their own flight. But the itinerary we handpicked. And so hopefully people are interested. And if not, well, we can always do another tour and plan something later.
Looks like a lot of fun in Ireland over there.
Totally.
Yeah. So you guys should check out that and follow them under Linktree and all their socials. I can pull up your Linktree again, see what else exciting stuff is on there, because I know you got a lot of stuff on it.
See, that's the problem, is that Leanne's not here and she does all that.
Oh.
Yes.
They're like, hey, wait a minute, don't share it. I don't know what's on there.
If Leanne were here, though, she would probably let you know that Corine also does spiritual chats. I don't know. Are you still doing
okay. Yeah.
So
the Ireland Spirits and Folk Tour there, your website. I was just going through that. That's where we got your trailers and that. You got a merch store here. Yeah, here we go. Spiritual Chats with Corine.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people ask me if
about?
I'm doing readings. I'm not technically doing readings. I have been doing a few here and there, and I have a big wait list at the moment. But anybody that wants to talk just spiritual stuff in general, like a lot of people just want to know about their own abilities or how to develop stuff. So I've been doing that.
Okay, fun stuff.
We have all kinds of stuff on the go.
Yay! So do you want to give a shout out to your fans?
Yeah, I was actually going to take a moment to do that. I just wanted to say that the people that we've met along the way in this journey is just like so wonderful. It's just the nicest people. And I mean, for somebody who grew up like feeling like living small or not at all type of a mindset, becoming friends with Leanne really changed my whole outlook on life and set me on a new trajectory where I'm doing things that I never thought was possible for me. Obviously, the abilities are included in that, but like the things that I get to do and the travels that we get to do together, it's just been so special. And so our fans, which is weird to say, like the people who follow our journey and are cheering us on, I can't say enough how much I appreciate you. If anyone's listening or whoever's listening that knows us already, or any of you that are listening who don't know who we are, we just appreciate you taking the time to listen to what we're saying. And yeah, it's just been super awesome.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing some great work. Keep it up. And everybody, make sure you follow Kelly and Corine and Leanne with all your different things, the Histories Most Haunted and Haunted Gold Rush, and keep doing what you're doing. We love it. And we're going to peace out with some bog team music, some boots on the ground music. What do y'all want to listen to? Some rock or rap or 80s metal?
Ooh, rock sounds great.
Rock, yeah.
Put some rock on. All
right.
right.
I'm surprised you didn't shout that from the rooftops.
Yeah, it was not our 80s. I had a real thought.
And thanks for having us, Jen. It's so fun.
Thanks so much for being on the show, guys. It's great having you on. Welcome back anytime. And folks, you're listening in on UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and 105.3 FM on that show. We just got a bit of rock here for you.
Yeah, maybe like that.